are worshiping Baal. The American powers, it's Baal worship. It's satanic. The God of the Hebrews will take down Baal and Baal worshippers. Okay? He's going to do what he did to Pharaoh, but this will be done on a global scale. A global scale. One moment here. Read it.
Verse 44. And I will punish Baal in Babylon, and I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he hath swallowed up, and the nations shall not flow together any more unto him.
And no more will Babylon accept all nations with the Statue of Liberty. Bring me your poor, bring me your dejected, bring me your immigrants. No more will people be clamoring to get in that country. The glory of her and the pomp of her will fall. So the Most High told us to proclaim this throughout the four corners of the earth. Because it don't stop with her. Because after her, who comes next? Asia will be the next one that will fall. And you will never guess who's going to fall after Asia. You're sitting in her. This is the chronological order of the fall after this war. And we're going to prove that. Let's get the one in Zephaniah. Put me to the test, right? Okay. You got it? Zephaniah, Zechariah 14 and 12.
Okay.
We're in Zechariah 14 and 12. Then after that, we're going into the Apocrypha to give you the chronological order on how this is going to happen. Read it.
Zechariah chapter 14 verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Most High will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
So this is the plague in which the Most High will use against those that have fought against God's people all through the earth. See, Israel was scattered throughout the four corners of the earth and was not regarded as a people. And this has been for hundreds of years. For hundreds of years, Israel, God's people, have been ignored. But you know what? You would never guess who was looking down on his people the whole time. Even though society have ignored them. The Most High himself. So this is the plague that the Most High will use against them that have fought against his people. Read.
Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet.
What weapon can be used to make your flesh consume away while you're standing on feet? A nuclear blast. Read.
And their eyes shall consume away in their holes.
And their eyes shall consume away in their holes as you stand. Read.
And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
And their tongue shall consume away in their mouths. Read.
Verse 13. And it shall come to pass in that day, that a great tumult from the Most High shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor.
And that's the end result. Total warfare. Every hand on his neighbor, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. You had your hand up?
Yeah, the woman was
They showed it in that movie Terminator, exactly. Which, you know, you see the swing going around, the little seesaw, and then she was in the playground, she was holding the gate, and it just consumed right off of her flesh. You can see her skull in her hands, her skull and her bones. That's a nuclear blast. That's the waster that the Most High have created to actually allow that place to be like Sodom and Gomorrah, ashes. And see, some people would like to say the Bible is not incorrect or the Bible is not true. If you go to these same places that the Bible speaks of, you'll see sulfur from the ashes and sulfur in the Sodom and Gomorrah today. The whole valley is packed with sulfur. It's as if they put the whole country or that area, that region, in an oven. Sulfur. I know y'all, you know, it's the American accent. Sulfur.
Brimstone. Brimstone.
Yeah. Read.
Verse 13. And it shall come to pass in that day, that a great tumult from the Most High shall be among them, and they shall lay hold everyone on the hand of his neighbor.
And they shall lay everyone on the hands of his neighbors. See, when that first missile is shot, one missile will be shot after the other, like we went into a few weeks ago. But we're going to go into a little detail to show you exactly what's going to happen. Go to 2 Peter 3 and 9, and let's get the Apocrypha. We're going to get 2 Peter 3 and 9. And I'm grabbing 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. Because you have many countries that will get involved once that first fire is shot. You have Syria who will get involved. You have these Middle Eastern countries with nuclear capability. They will get involved. Read 2 Peter 3 and 9. Go ahead.
2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise.
And the Lord is not slack concerning his promise. Read.
As some men count slackness.
People think that the Most High is slack because judgment have not hit the earth at its fullest. Read.
But is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. But the day of the Most High will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise.
That's a boom. Read.
And the elements shall melt with fervent heat.
What can make the elements melt with fervent heat? And which element is on fire? Read.
The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up.
That's how you cleanse. That's exactly how you cleanse a situation. You can purify it with water, but you can cleanse it through fire. You can cleanse something through fire. And that's when the Lord says we shall go through the fire and come out like pure gold. It's talking about going through this fire that will hit this earth. Go to 2nd Ezra 16 to pinpoint the countries that will be judged. Second Ezra 13. And let's start at 34. Read it.
2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 34.
2nd Ezra. Hold up. No, 15 and 34. Let's start at 15 and 34. I'm sorry.
2nd Ezra.
I'm getting before myself here. 2nd Ezra 15 and 34. Go ahead.
Behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm.
This is talking about mushroom clouds. Read.
Verse 35. They shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth, even their own star.
When it says even their own star, again, back then, America's or the Western world technology was not founded. So what the prophets are seeing here is what looks like stars going from one place to the next. These are missiles being shot. You understand? Read.
And blood shall be from the sword unto the belly, and dung of men unto the camel's hoof.
Until the camel's hoof. That show you the region they'll be fighting. Camels are in the Middle East. Read.
Verse 37. And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon the earth. And they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. And then shall there come great storms from the south, and from the north, and another part from the west. And strong winds shall arise from the east, and it shall open it. And the cloud which he raised up in wrath, and the star stirred to cause fear toward the east and west wind, shall be destroyed. The great and mighty cloud shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star, they that make all the earth afraid.
And they that make all the earth afraid. When it says the star, it's talking about the nuclear hit. I'm going to show you. Read.
And them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out over every high and eminent place.
All the high places in the Middle East. Read.
And horrible star.
And horrible star. Read.
Verse 41. Fire and hail and flying swords.
And flying swords. Read.
And many waters.
And many waters. Because what happens when a nuclear bomb hits in an area? It moves waters. Go ahead.
That all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities.
And that's showing tidal waves. How you doing, young man? How you doing? Read.
And they shall break down cities, and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood, and grass of the meadows, and their corn.
It's in their grain. It tell you that in 2nd Ezra, it's their grain. Read.
Verse 43.
So right after the wars where the camel's hoofs are, you would never imagine where the battle will go next. Read.
And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon.
And right after that, the war will go to Babylon. Read.
And make her afraid.
And make her afraid. Read.
They shall come to her, and besiege her. The star in all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto the heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her.
Now let me read what it says in the annotated Apocrypha, which is the English translation for that last verse. It says, they shall come, it says, they shall go on steadily to Babylon and blot it out. They shall come to it and surround it, like we read in Jeremiah. And thou shalt pour out on it the tempest and all its fury. Then the dust and smoke shall reach the sky. Mushroom cloud, that's what that is. And all who are around about it shall mourn for it, like we read in Revelations 18. And those who survive shall serve those who have destroyed it. So right after America falls, all power goes over to who? Asia. All power goes to Asia. Most people think that the Persians are original Middle Easterns, but they are actually Japhetic in the tense of Shem. They are Asians, the Iranians. They are Asian.
What they consider Asians over here, or they all?
Yes.
Now, let's talk about the Chinese, the Oriental Asians.
Yes. But this is talking about they are family of the Oriental Asians.
So they correct when they say Asians over here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But they're in the tents of Arabia. So you think that they are the same families as Ishmael, but they're not. They are Japhetic families. They're not Ishmaelites over there in Iran. They're Medes. Medes are family in the tents of Shem. They're Japhetic people living in Shemitic land. You with me? So now, when it comes to the stock markets and Times Square and all the little things we're used to in the United States, what country have mimicked themselves to be able to take the slack right after America falls? Asia. Asia has a Times Square. They have almost everything. They've mimicked themselves and likened themselves. China have likened themselves to America. So now the Bible tells you what happens to them next. Who will be next after that? Let's see. Read the next verse.
Verse 45. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear.
Go ahead.
And thou, Asia.
See, it goes right into Asia, right after Babylon falls. And thou, Asia, read.
That art partaker of the hope of Babylon.
You have partook in the hope of Babylon. Asia didn't create anything new. They just made everything, all the inventions of America, cheaper. And they invested in America. They brought America out financially by investing in America. They own a large percent of America. So since they likened themselves to America, but in order to do this, they had to lay down with the beast to do this. So now the judgment is going to go off of Babylon after Babylon is dealt with, and it's going to, the Most High is going to set his eye on Asia next. Read.
And thou, Asia, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person.
And you are the glory of her person. You have made yourself just like America, a new industrial complex. Read.
Verse 47. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions.
And it says in her inventions, it says you have imitated. Look at what it says in the English of the annotated. It says, woe to you, miserable wretch, for you have made yourself like her. You have decked out your daughters for prostitution to please and glory in your lovers. The Asians at one point had honor. They were an honorable nation at one point. Not when America got a hold of them. They made themselves as Americans. Who's seen that movie? I like to always relate things to movies. Who's seen that movie, The Last Samurai?
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, the Tom Cruise movie. You need to look at that movie. You will see what they would call American process. America's progress against honor. Right? And it says here, you have imitated that hateful one in all her deeds and devices. Therefore the Most High says, I will send evils upon you. And right after America is dealt with, according to prophecy, Asia will be plagued on a high level. Now, this is the culmination of the second coming. We have to go through all this before Christ actually come and save us out of what's left. Read.
Verse 49. I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. And the glory of the power shall be dried up as a flower, when the heat shall rise that is sent over thee. Thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes, and as one chastised with wounds, so that the mighty and lovers shall not be able to receive thee. Would I with jealousy have so proceeded against thee, saith the Most High.
And now the Most High is going to tell you why he's going to do this to them. Read.
Verse 53. If thou hadst not always slain my chosen.
If you have not always slain my chosen. Israel was scattered throughout the four corners of the earth and was made to serve all nations. And while Israel served these nations, they received no rest. I went to Hawaii. I went to different areas, and I see that Asia have done to the Naphtalians what the European powers that came to America did to the Aborigines of America. So no one will escape this for treating the children of Israel the way they have treated God's people in this earth. Some people should not be treated as cattle. The Most High sat back and looked at this the whole time. These nations already had power. Israel lost his strength, but yet they gave Israel no rest. So now the Most High says, oh, because you, read that thought again. That's key here.
2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 53. If thou hadst not always slain my chosen.
If you have not always killed my chosen, read.
Exalting the stroke of thy hands, and saying over their dead when thou wast drunken, set forth the beauty of thy countenance. The reward of thy whoredom shall be in thy bosom. Therefore shalt thou receive recompense.
So now they get their payment. Read.
Verse 56. Like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Most High, even so shall the Most High do unto thee.
Period. What you did to my people, now I'm going to do to you. See, and this happened before. Listen, there's no new thing under the sun. The Most High was sending plagues on Egypt. Pharaoh had a choice. He could ease up on God's people and let them go, or he can make them serve with much rigor. No, his heart got hardened. His heart was hardened, and he said, listen, I'll tell you what, now you have to build brick with no straw. Same thing. Same thing. These nations have destroyed God's people all over the earth. But yet, we'll point today to politics and say politics is the reason the earth is in the state it's in right now. We're pointing to the people, saying, listen, you all better figure out these people. You better find out who Israel is. Because this is why the Most High is angry. If you don't know them, you don't know what you're doing to them. So that's why we go into Israel, showing how Israel was scattered, why Israel fell, because the judgments are in the earth because of his people. That's the reason for the judgments. His people are being delivered all over the earth. They're waking up from the psychology that have enslaved them. They're waking up from the spiritual psychology and the spiritual enslavement that been passed down from their forefathers. The Most High have a spirit in the work that's bringing again the captivity of his people. At the same time he's awakening his people, he's destroying the nations that have enslaved his people through time. And they know exactly. Let me tell you, I'm sitting here with a book right here. I pull out this book almost every week, brother. When I read this book, it blew my mind. I read this book 10 years ago, Lost Tribes in the Promised Lands, by Ronald Sanders. And if you get the paperback, a lot of the paperback, the New Revised Version, a lot of the information is out of the book in the new paperback. I got one of the original books, and I read this book, and it blew me away, because this showed me that even in the 1800s, when they were settling from Europe over into America, there was word back in here, in England, that they found the 10 tribes over in the Americas. There was words in the 1800s on a scholarly level that the Indian tribes had Hebrew relics, had the 10 commandments, had the fringes and borders of blue, had all the things that was contained in the Old Testament, and that it was fact that these tribes were from the diaspora of the 8th century BC. They knew this when they went over into America, but they reported back into England and these other areas saying that these people are savages. They must be tamed. Let's transfer that. Let's switch the word around a little bit. They're terrorists. It was in the book. They knew. But instead of giving these people ease and rest and helping these people, they brought over religion. Let's draft a constitution and give the people a freedom of religion. Hold up. You already have religion. You're not giving people a freedom of religion. You're talking about teaching these people your religion. That's what you're promoting. Then you kill the aged and the ancient that knows better. You kill them all and you teach their children. This is what they did. When I read this book, it blew me away because they knew. And then they sat down with these Masons, whom we call preachers and pastors. And in America, during that same period, created a smorgasbord of religion. At this time, everything is springing up. Jehovah's Witnesses, Lutherans, Mormons, you name it. They're springing up all in America. The boss that came over was Catholic. But you got all these different stems of religion that was aimed towards destroying that people who were the aborigines of that land. They were very spiritual people. They didn't need the religion that was coming. They were spiritual already. They understood the earth. The earth was fine. The animals were fine. But yet they didn't show these people any rest. Then lied and called the people savages. Through time, the children lost their identity. That was the plan from its inception. The plan when they went to America, they knew. It tell you in this book, in Christopher Columbus' Dialis, I went through it last week, that he used 2nd Ezra as the authority to know that the earth was round, to get to these Indian tribes that were over in the land. And I hate calling them Indian, because Indian means savage. That's the label that was placed on the children of Israel, the lost tribes of the diaspora. When I read this book, it blew me away. And guess what? Ronald Sanders, I pull this out all the time. Ronald Sanders, who's Jewish, compiled this information. Okay, I wanted to bring that out. So they didn't give Israel no rest. They didn't give Israel any rest. They used a Gatling gun against them, killing them, burning down their villages, moving them to plantations. It sounds familiar, don't you? That's what's going on in Afghanistan. That's what went on in Iraq. The same war. But back in England and back over in the homeland, they was telling people, you know, yeah, it's progress. We got churches and hospitals. We got a way to care for the people. We're going to cure their smallpox. Oh, the smallpox you brought over to them in blankets. Thank you. Appreciate it. So now, I'm examining these wars according to prophecy, and that helps us understand all the goings prophetically in the earth. We understand the wars, why the wars are culminating. Go to 2nd Ezra 16. The Most High is destroying this world for his people. I know some people don't want to realize that and understand that, but yes, he did it in Egypt, and he's doing it now. Nothing never changed. These things never changed. The Most High didn't just reject his people and accept it and say, listen, everybody is my people now. That never happened. The only way you can accept this God is to serve him and follow his commandments. And these nations will not follow his commandments. They refuse. So the Most High have awakened a small elect that will be a light to the Gentiles and give them the truth to escape what's coming. It's a very minute few that's going to make it through this. 2nd Ezra 16 and 1, read it.
2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon, and Asia.
Woe be unto you, Babylon and Asia. Read.
Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria.
Egypt is going to get hit too. Egypt will still stand, but it will be hit. When I say it will be hit with a serious famine. It tells us in Isaiah, the 19th chapter, that the brooks or the waters or the Nile will dry up. The fires that happen over in Russia right now have been a strain on Egyptians' grain. I found that out the other day. So I'm looking at prophecy happen on a daily basis. And it tells you the Egyptians will fight against Egyptians. It will be total mayhem in Egypt too. But we know our eyes are on that one place the Lord said be when it's time. We're going to pass through, but it's one place we must be when it's time. Because Egypt has a judgment coming also. Read.
Verse 2.
And Syria. And Syria. Now Syria today would be ancient Assyria. Now notice these are all the places that have enslaved God's people. You have Egypt who enslaved God's people. You have the Assyrians that took out the northern kingdom, that eventually a large remnant of them went over the waters and came to what we call Ozareth, or America today. Read.
Verse 2. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand.
For your destruction is at hand. Iran, brothers and sisters. And there's nothing to gloat about. This is what's happening. They are charging up that reactor. And when this happens, it's going to be total mayhem in the Middle East. When Israel decide to strike this country. They promised months ago, listen. He said, listen, if Israel attack us, we will attack all the Middle Eastern countries that gave them place or forts to fight against us. So Ahmadinejad promised that he will first hit the areas of the Gulf Coast, the other Middle Eastern countries, first. Immediately, that kills the resources of oil as we know it, funneling out of the Middle East. So what happens to the economy that runs off of oil? What happens to the world?
It's Ahmadinejad.
Ahmadinejad.
Cool.
Ahmadinejad. Thank you. Ahmadinejad, I got you. You all right? So what happens right after that? The whole industrial complex operates on oil. Everything goes up. Yes. Inflation is an understatement. You're talking about straight famine. Trucks can't ride without oil. Planes cannot fly without oil. Can you imagine what it will cost for a loaf of bread? This is the time we're about to go into. Read on.
Verse 2. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry.
Bewail your children and be sorry. Why?
For your destruction is at hand.
For your destruction is at hand. Your time is come. Y'all lay down with the beast. Now it's time to pay the piper. All these countries at one point was rich in glory. Read.
Verse 3. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away?
The Most High will plague the earth worse than he plagued Egypt. Read.
Verse 6. May any man drive away an hungry lion in the wood? Or may anyone quench the fire in stubble when it had begun to burn? May one turn away the arrow that is shot of a strong archer?
And the answer to all of these are no. Who can stop this? You cannot stop prophecy. Read.
Verse 8. The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away?
And who are he who can drive them away? The Most High Power's spirit is in this war. This will be the last war. This will be the last war. Read.
Verse 9. A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence?
The Most High says the nations will be beaten into powder when this is said and done. They talked about the New World Order. There's not going to be anything to salvage in this world to make a New World Order. Read.
Verse 12. The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth with waves from the deep, and waves of it are troubled. And the fishes thereof also before the Most High, and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world.
See that? They will not miss. These missiles will not miss when they begin to be shot to the ends of the world. The nuclear hit's going to start in the Middle East, work its way out of the Middle East, then they're going to go out to Babylon. No arrow shall be wasted. Read.
Verse 14. Behold, the plagues are sent, and are not to return again, until they come up upon the earth. The fire is kindled, it shall not be put out, till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of the mighty archer, returneth not backward. Even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days?
Who will deliver me in those days? The Most High God will. The Most High God of Israel will be the only deliverer in that day. This war is playing out to be an actual savior for God's people. Most people don't understand that. This whole thing, believe it or not, this whole thing could have been averted. The Lord says, if the wicked destroy the pledge and give again that he have robbed, and walk in the statutes of life, he shall live, and he shall not die. He surely shall not die. So there was an opportunity, but there is no opportunity now. Mankind have come too far. Mankind have come too far, and mankind is unrepentant. There is no shot at everybody just coming together now and say, you know what, let's just come together and get this right. The governments and powers of this earth are not willing to do what it would take for that to happen. They would have to turn the earth over to the poor and step down out of their positions and go back to where they came from. And that's far-fetched. That will never happen. Now, of course, there's a lot of little subplots to this. The mark of the beast, them taking money out of the system, bringing forth what we call, let me get this here, bringing forth what we call the mark of the beast. This must happen. See, when they created money, this is what they had in mind. They didn't have what you're spending right now in mind. The mark of the beast, written of in Revelation the 13th chapter, tells us that no man shall buy or sell lest ye have the mark of the beast. This is going to be instituted in the earth before these wars culminate. So we do have a small amount of time, but not long. This must be instituted. And you know what? It's being instituted now. The banks are purposely bankrupting the world, making countries into third world countries. They've gotten humans used to getting things implanted in them. Implantable breasts, implantable limbs, implantable this, that, bionic people. Yeah.
Here in UK as well, they actually have a chip as a professor.
Yeah. He had to open up his door and yeah, I seen it. I seen that online. They're making it every day, like it's an everyday type of thing now with this chip. Like it's nothing, you know. People have had it, you know. Animals get it. It's not a big deal. But that's the whole deal. They're doing this because according to the Zionist doctrine, you are cattle. That's Goyim. That's all you are. You're cattle. There's no difference in marking you than any other animal. Okay? So these guys that are in control are not willing, these guys will not be willing to do what they would need to do to save this earth. Okay, this earth is not overpopulated. This earth could heal itself, believe it or not, if this industrial complex would stop raping it. But she can't be healed. Satan is in control, and the serpent people are doing their bid. I have one other thing to read. I just wanted to show you what will culminate, who will be used, and the fact that the nuclear missiles are in the Bible. Revelations 18 will be the last thing I'll read. And then after that, we can open it for questions and do our prayers and anointments. Read.
Revelations chapter 18, verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Babylon the great is fallen, is fallen. It's fallen, it's fallen. America the beauty will no longer be America the beauty. She's finished. And I know some people are upset out there about this because she's the glory or the light of the world. Not too long ago, I had a conversation with a guy over here, and he's a school teacher. We had a nice, detailed conversation. And he had a little hope. He was feeling like, America can get Israel in check. He was feeling like okay, I understand that Israel is out of control, but America is going to check Israel. That's what they're making people over in Europe think. Okay? The banks own America. Period. The Federal Reserve is not even a federal corporation, a federal institution within the United States. It's a private company.
It's the feudal reserve.
Federal Reserve.
It's called the feudal reserve.
Yeah, it's a private company. Thank you. You understand? And this is what's going on here. They own America. You have to realize these guys whom we call politicians are not voted in at all. There is no democratic system in America at all. Okay? Period. Barack Obama was born to do what he's doing, and they knew he was going to be president since the 70s. Period. George Bush lost the election twice. I've never seen an electoral system like this in my life. They make you think that it's the people with the popular vote making the choices. The rich, they can't put that into the hands of the people. They don't think you're that smart. We'll have to, work this out with the Electoral College. So we'll put the votes in, but we'll let this Electoral College tell us who the president is. No, count the votes. He lost the election twice and was still president. You know why? The reason? He was the guy that was going to institute the path to the mark. He wasn't the smartest guy in the world. That's what people might think. This guy played dumb on purpose. All right? He did exactly what they told him to do. That's very smart for him. Okay? Read.
Revelations chapter 18, verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
All nations have drunk of the wine of her fornication. She was made out of every nation and kindred and tongue. And at one point, you could go to that place and change not just your life, but generations of lives to come from your offspring. That was the place to go. Everyone desired to go there and be a part of this great glory called America. Read.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
All the kings have laid down with her. Now they're paying. Now they are all paying. Read.
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
The whole earth got rich. All the kings got rich off of this this incorporation of the earth. They all got rich. Read.
Verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven,
Now the Most High is speaking, saying what?
saying, Come out of her, my people.
My people that were scattered in that land, you better make your way out of there. Come out of her, my people. If you're down with me, move away from the wrath that's coming. Read.
That ye be not partakers of her sin.
There's no way possible you can live in that country and not sin. It's utterly impossible. It's too much opportunity to do wrong. And to do right is evil spoken of. Read.
And that ye receive not of her plagues.
Because if you stay in that country, you're going to receive the plagues, which are the missiles coming to that country. Read.
Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven.
Her sins have reached unto heaven. Now the Most High can see her sins. Why? She have launched ships and made space stations in the heavenly realm. They have placed weapons in space. Why? What are you fighting? Instilling fear in the populace, making them think that space invaders or some alien is going to come out from nowhere. The alien they're talking about is Christ. This, just space invaders. We got to protect ourselves from the unknown. You know exactly what's coming out. They tell you in the book of Acts, when they seen him float up in a cloud, the angel says, listen, don't be alarmed here, because the way you see him leaving is the way he's coming back. He's coming through the clouds. So now they're out in space. The Most High says their sin have reached into heaven. Read.
And the Most High have remembered her iniquities.
We forget, but the Most High never forgets. Because where the Most High is, there is no time. He's not subject to time or space. So it was just like yesterday when they started erecting all these Masonic, Canaanitish symbols to these different gods. I heard over in Rome, they got all types of things erected in Rome. In London, they got all types of things erected in in London. America had built a whole city on Masonic principles. A whole city. Obelisks, 5-pointed stars.
In the Knesset.
Huh?
In the Knesset in Israel.
Yeah.
They've got like all the
Yeah. And not too far from the White House, they got a big statue referencing Albert Pike, a Mason.
Founder of the KKK?
Yeah, the founder of the KKK. You know Albert Pike was Jewish? Yeah.
He said no, you just helped them out when they were busy.
Yes. But this guy was not an elected official. What is they doing with a statue in reverence to Albert Pike, a known sorcerer? This whole thing, that's why the Lord says it had become a habitation of devils. What did they do in Masonic rituals? They do these rituals to allow these spirits to come through vortexes to be controlled within the earth. This is how they gain power in the earth with symbolism.
And they invoke it through the sounds. They invoke Jehovah.
Go ahead. I want to hear that. Go ahead. Say it.
Yeah, they invoke the sounds. Every entity responds to its name.
Mm-hmm.
So the compelling forces of Gehenna, hellfire, are invoked by their action and the words. And the lady who gave me the analysis was living in Newark. I met her in Saudi Arabia. And it's in the book I've given you. The actual meaning, Jehovah, means he who is, Jabulon. Now, Jah, he of the Lord. On is the place where Baal was worshipped in the cellar, the obelisk, the phallic symbol. And On is where Joseph marries the daughter of the priest of On. So Jehovah Jabulon is the god, the rock that begot Adam. They say that that God created Adam through masturbation. That is what the symbol represents in your American symbol. So hence, when the Israelites worshipped there, they were changed into apes and baboons and pigs. And that's what happened in ancient On. So when you see the symbol, remember it is Hizbul Shaitan, the great Satan. That is his emblem.
So
Jehovah, the word Jehovah, Jah will On.
So Jehovah is what?
It means in Arabic, he who is.
So that's Satan.
It could be God, Allah, Adonai, or it could be he who
It could
is
be
Satan.
either or.
So it means he who. So their Lord was the obelisk of the Masada in ancient On, and that is who they worshipped, and that is the symbol. In the Vatican, you find the same symbol in Istanbul. Wherever you go, you find this ancient symbol, and it is the phallic, solar phallicism, is what was worshipped. But the actual word, each word, breath, and they invoke it, and the symbolism is there how they do the ritual. As you invoke the word, the entity emerges from the hellfire. And that is what they do in the ritual. So they're possessed and they possess everything.
Okay, well, we're going to break down soon. You mind if I get 30 minutes?
No, I have to go to a wedding anniversary.
What time?
Well, it's my wedding anniversary.
Okay. well, when you get some time.
Sure.
Okay, well, you can go there. Congratulations.
I'm okay until about 4:45. But,
Okay, what time is it?
well, this one's okay for me because I can
Okay. Well, we'll be done in 5 minutes.
Sure, no, this is fine.
Okay,
It's excellent.
all right. And before you leave, because I want to get some things from you, okay, as far as on tape. Is that all right?
Sure.
All right, good. Huh? I know. But I want to make sure I get that because I don't want to get him while he's here, right? All right.
My birthday as well, so that's what the party's about.
Okay. All right.
But this is more important.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's read through Revelations real quick and get this, and then we'll pray out. Read.
Revelations chapter 18, verse 6. Reward her, even as she had rewarded you,
Go ahead.
and double unto her according to her works.
The Most High says double will come on her according to her works. Read.
And the cup which she hath filled to her, and the cup which she hath filled to her double.
Filled to her double. Some people might think or might ask, but why does America need to go through all these countries and continue the war? Why do you need to continue to do this? Why can't they just live in peace? They can't anymore. They have to. Too many enemies.
This is demonic. They cannot help itself.
Yeah. But also, it's too many enemies also. If they just lay back, somebody will do something eventually.
Well, then in peace,
That's what-
not in peace.
In pieces. Read.
Verse 8. Therefore, verse 7. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, and mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire.
That's the future prophecy according to Revelations. And mind you, usually in the Christian churches, especially in America, it's taboo to read Revelations. Well, what is it doing in the book? If none of the preachers can go into it. No, we just need to read the gospel and the good news of Jesus Christ. None of that is important. That stuff is later. Read.
For strong is the Most High who judgeth her.
Go ahead.
Verse 9. And the kings of the earth, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her,
All the kings that live with her, read,
shall bewail her.
they will bewail her. They will cry because of her. Why?
and lament for her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning.
They're going to see the smoke of her burning. Read.
Verse 10. Standing afar off, for the fear of her torment, saying, at last, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come.
For in 1 hour is your judgment come. This is going to go down in 1 hour. Read.
Verse 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore.
See that? People are going to be upset because look how much money they've made trading with America. Read.
Verse 12. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones,
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
and of pearls, and fine linen, and purple, and silk, and scarlet, and all thyine wood, and all manner of vessels of ivory, and all manner of vessels of precious wood, and of brass, and iron, and marble, and cinnamon, and odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, and the souls of men.
And the souls of men. People will be crying from all those things they're losing with America off the grid. And the souls of men, because nations come over to America just to take advantage of the people that's there. Look at all the stores that are from other nations and immigrants who come over just to get paid and bring money back to their countries. So that opportunity will soon be gone. Read.
Verse 14. And the fruits that thy soul lusteth after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, at last, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold, and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster, and all the companies of ships, and sailors.
Now this is right here is how we know it's talking about America. You have some people that don't want to deal with the reality that it's America, would say that Babylon is a Roman Catholic Church. What ships is going into the Vatican? What merchants is trading with the Vatican? This is talking about financial loss here. Right? Read.
Verse 18. And cried, when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, at last, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by the reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven.
It's going to take 1 hour to deal with hundreds of years of oppression. 1 hour, finished. 1 hour. Now just imagine. Read that last part you were going into there. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Rejoice over her.
The Lord says we now must rejoice over her. Go ahead.
Thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her.
So now the Most High is avenging the prophets and the teachers on those who have oppressed the prophets and teachers. He's avenging them for oppressing them. Y'all see that? So these are all God's people. He's bringing these wars and destruction and takedown based on the oppression and the death of his people and prophets. Read.
Verse 21. And then a mighty angel took up a stone like a millstone and cast it into the sea.
Go ahead.
Saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down.
This place will be thrown down through violence. It was built on violence. It's going down. through violence. Read.
and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of harpers and musicians and of pipers,
Some of the best musicians, and what else?
and of pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee.
All that great American music will be heard no more. Read.
And no craftsman, of whatsoever craft he be, shall be found any more in thee. And the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. And the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be no more at all, shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth. For by thy sorceries were all nations deceived.
By your sorcery, all nations was deceived. That's what made us think that it was such a great place. We are under a spell. Yes. We are under a spell. And the Most High is going to snap you right out of it in 1 hour. You're going to take 1 hour totally. You have to realize how they did this in America to really get the people to where they are right now. A top Mason name was Walt Disney. And they used Walt Disney to influence the children to accept the Babylonian lifestyle that would soon be promoted all over the earth. Walt Disney, all his characters were made out of sexual organs. Excuse my language, but it is. All his characters was made out of sexual organs, but it's subliminal to where you can't even see it, but the artist actually started off with sexual images for every character. Walt Disney, he was a top sorcerer. They used him to influence the children to accept the world we have right now. All these guys were top Masons. So that's the future. Keep your eye on what's going on with Iran. If you got a passport, get ready to use it if need be. With that, we're going to say shalom. Let's do the